Oh, it is 7 o'clock, so we are live. All right. Come on down, grab these sketchbooks. We're going to get started. Grab a seat. All right. Welcome to NYVR. Can I get a round of applause for XR Technology? Awesome. All right. Thank you so much for coming. I always like to ask, who is here for the first time? Please raise your hand. Awesome. Welcome, Brennan. That's an old joke. It never does get old. Okay, we got some housekeeping, and then we'll get right to the content. So, mission statement for NYVR is dedicated to fostering an ecosystem for virtual reality developers in New York City. For all you new folk, we're here to help. So, if there's anything I can help you with, just come and grab me. That is old. This is me. I am DJ Smith, NYVR organizer. We formed NYVR back in 2013, which means I'm getting old. Also, the Chief Creative Officer of the Glimpse Group, and many thanks to Glimpse for hosting the event space for us here. Our volunteers, we got Anthony, Jean, Hasib, and Jordan got jammed up tonight, but thank you so much for everything you do to help put these events together. Also, a shout out to Jimmy, who is helping with the live broadcast. He runs that YouTube channel, and very thankful that we do live broadcast these. And all of the past events are saved on the YouTube page, so you can go back and take a look at them. I should mention that the link for each event is usually in the meetup description. So that's where you can grab it. All right, and also for new folks, I do run something called the NYVR Collaboration Group. This is a system designed to help people get into the industry, where I will pair a Unity developer with an artist and kind of set them off on a little task to do a project together. I always have a running list of people that are interested in joining groups. Have a couple backlog, so if anyone is interested in that, please come up and hit me up at the end of the event, and I just kind of take your information and randomly pair you with a person that makes sense.
Do it, it's great fun.
It is great fun. And I will say, some of the groups actually went on to form successful businesses. It's been really rewarding. And I always like to bring the collaboration group projects back to the group. We haven't done that in a while, so I'm anxious to get back on that. Hey, how's it going? All right, future presenters. So if you are working on anything in the VR space, please hit me up. I'd love to bring up new content, love to help anyone in their path. And if you hear of somebody that's working on something, please let me know. Also, any XR startups, same message. A couple of announcements. We have our friends at the XR Guild have an upcoming event November 19th at the Navy Yard. We're going to hear a little bit more about that, but definitely encourage you to go to those events. And definitely let me know if there's other XR events that are happening. One, I just like to make sure that we're not stepping on toes with dates, and always like to help with just giving shout outs of what other groups are happening. On the same topic, Joe Lang, who's one of our past presenters, he's up in the Beacon area, Hudson Valley area, and he's actually starting a Game Creators Meetup. It's going to be 12/5. So he's going to put this info in the Meetup page. I think the QR code will work there too, but if you're up in that area, definitely encourage you to go check that out. And then Randy, come on up. We have a guest announcer for this time.
That's right. So Randy Rowe. Trip over DJ's wires and just wanted to give a shout out to the Immersive Learning Research Network. It is an organization been hosting conferences for 10 years. This will be their 11th annual conference. A lot of university faculty members, K-12 teachers, but also open to anybody who's using XR in an instructional or educational fashion. There's a call for presentations, so if you've got a project you've been doing that's got an angle there, you think others in that world I just described would be interested in learning from your experience, please consider putting in a proposal. This is a conference which will take place in Chicago in June. And even if you don't put in a presentation, please check out the website and potentially come to Chicago and be part of the conference.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks for the announcement. And then we also have the MIT Reality Hack. I know a bunch of the community has been involved in that. Marianne's going to actually talk a little bit more about that. But if you don't know about the Reality Hack, definitely look it up, get involved. It's an amazing event every year. I did not get a chance to update our favorite VR experiences. This is from a previous version. It's always a good reference if you want to take a picture or hit me up afterwards. And I didn't even, shame on me this time, but I do like to hear what new experiences people have seen. So if you have seen something cool recently, definitely hit me up. I am actively going through the Batman experiences, which is really, really awesome for the fact that it's on a quest. Like it's really wild. So they did an amazing job with that experience. Oh yeah, so this is actually the QR code to submit. Great. So if you've seen something, hit me up, and then I'll update the spreadsheet from last time. And I'll be putting Batman in there. Okay. Thanks to Asib here, our assistant organizer, we do have a new LinkedIn page. We announced this last event, but please join the LinkedIn page. We're going to have additional content distributed through there. I'm not really great with other social media platforms at the moment, so we're going to try and concentrate our stuff onto LinkedIn. Okay, too much housekeeping. So with that, I'm going to go to the amazing presenters that we have lined up, starting with Mr. Gary. Come on up. Oh, one other housekeeping thing. No, come on up. So for the new folks with Q&A, we do that all at the end. And I'm going to be showing this QR code throughout the event. So after each presenter, you can hit that and put any questions into it, and then I'll curate the questions for all of the presenters. Okay. Gary, take the floor.
Thank you, DJ. Thank you guys for coming here. It's 12 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Gary Motovoy. I'm the founder of AquaVR and GoSmell. And I want to show you something interesting today. Okay. Let's talk about the underwater experience. So, AquaVR is a snorkeling mask, which is combining VR immersion for aquatic environments, featuring dial soup for face design and water compartment for MetaQuest 3. The mask is designed especially for water parks, pools, and cruise ships. So, how it works? We take the full face double soup snorkel mask, the best on the market, and put the MetaQuest 3 inside. And because we need the vibration, we put the feel reel inside. So right now we got a mask with the waterproof compartment for MetaQuest 3 with the vibration working through Bluetooth. And also we got the cases for controllers. So the cases for VR controllers also waterproof. You can play up to 10 people in our mask, in any pool, and like I said, it's working with a very good applications for resorts, cruise lines, and water-based attractions. We cannot just did the mask. We have to put something inside, so people have to play with something. And we did the game, named Atlantis Explorer. It's exclusively designed for AquaVR and MetaQuest 3. Atlantis Explorer is underwater VR adventure game. I think I better show you how it works. Could we have it for a second?
Sure. Do this.
Thank you.
We salute you, explorer. Welcome to Atlantis.
Explorer 1, indicate your position. Over. Base, this is Explorer 1. I've reached the ocean floor. No sign of Atlantis yet. Over. Explorer 1, this is Base. Keep scanning the ocean bed. Atlantis could be hidden in the depths. Over. Roger that, Base. Continuing the search. Over. Base, this is Explorer 1. I've stumbled upon a peculiar structure resembling ancient ruins. Investigating further. Over.
We have
Explorer 1,
six
this is
different
Base.
shots
Exercise
on the
caution.
game.
Those ruins could be remnants of Atlantis. Over.
We got a fighter, we
Copy
got
that, Base.
the
Proceeding
summer,
cautiously. Over.
different monsters.
Base, this is Explorer 1, confirming discovery. I found the lost city of Atlantis. Transmitting coordinates. Over. Explorer 1, this is Base. Do you copy? We're detecting unusual activity in your vicinity. Over. Base, this is Explorer 1. Copy that. I'm picking up some disturbances in the water and investigating now. Over. Explorer 1, be advised. Our sensors are indicating a potential threat. Exercise extreme caution. Over. Base, this is Explorer 1. I've got visual confirmation. It's a megalodon. Repeat, it's a megalodon. Engaging evasive maneuvers. Over. Explorer 1, this is Base. Extraction team en route. Hold on just a little longer. Over. Base, this is Explorer 1. I've lost sight of the megalodon. I think I've managed to evade it. Over. Explorer 1, this is Base. Outstanding. Await further instructions for retrieval. Over.
Alright.
Okay, guys. Here's the very small teaser of our game. It's much bigger, and I just cannot show you everything in 3 minutes. So, I want to introduce you another project. It's called Go Smell. It's a mask which gives you 5 different smells. It depends where you're in the game. Let's say you are in the forest, you smell forest. You are in the ocean, you smell ocean, and sand. Also, you can feel the vibration in this mask. Same as in the mask AquaVR. So, this mask gives you multiple levels of vibration. It depends where are you and how big the hits in VR. So it's enable user to smell atmospheric sense and virtual reality environment. And it's very good for any game or video experience. So, when you can use this? We can use the game in immersive storytelling. We can use this in therapy. We can use this in entertainment and training simulations. And I want to talk about the market opportunity. AquaVR is very good for entertainment sector, for resorts, water parks, cruise ships, and center. And the Go Smell is applicable across gaming, VR therapy, educational simulations, and location-based entertainment venues. About the competitors. So this mess is, for now, absolutely unique, and we have no competitors in this area for right now. We're looking for partnership and investment, and we want to work with the people who want to bring virtual reality to the next level. And I have one message to the financial sharks. We need your help, guys. We need investment. We need a partnership and long-term collaboration. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Gary. And here is the QR code. If you have any questions for Gary, we'll bring them up at the end. And with that, we will go on to Marianne. Come on.
Is it the same QR code for each?
It is the same. When you go in, there's it's not the same as the favorites, but you pick the person you're going to ask questions to.
Actually, I have a question here. That's
Oh, yeah. All right. There we go.
all. Awesome. Hi, I'm Marianne Powers. I'm an executive producer and a PMO consultant. I started out in digital video and then gaming, asking about Star Trek interactive movies. Then I made like websites and marketing campaigns for everybody in the world, probably at some point. And 2 years ago, I started a career change. But even while I was doing all of this, I have been doing XR and AI. I started doing AI projects for Coca-Cola in 2018, and I started doing XR projects for Coca-Cola 2 years ago. So that's how I got here. And now I'm currently working with Rock Paper Reality. They're an award-winning immersive agency. One of the most recent projects was something they did for Google, and it is like location-based AR in Google Maps. So people who attended the Paris Olympics were able to hold up Google Maps with their camera open, and it would transpose what the Eiffel Tower looked like 100 years ago. So it's pretty awesome stuff. And I'm gonna start to talk to you about the MIT Reality Hack and about the XR Guild, but also I know a lot of folks come here, it's such a wonderful community, but I know a lot of people come here and they're new and they don't know anybody. First off, this is a really wonderful place to start. And if you are new, I do recommend, I just started to volunteer for everything. And I went to every hackathon and I went to every event, and everyone has been just so generous with their time and support. So there's that. Oh, I might forget the glasses. You got it. Show me where the arrows are. Those. Excellent, thank you. Okay, so MIT Reality Hack, it's a really fantastic event. What is it? If you don't know, it is an annual community-run hackathon for experiential technology. We used to call it the XR, but now it's kind of like expanding. So our extended reality is now experiential technology. So we have expanded as well. And it really embodies the MIT spirit of mens et manus, mind in hand, and we seek to propel experiential technology. I'm reading this verbatim because it's so important. This is our mission. Towards a maximally positive role in society while facilitating an impactful experience where participants can learn, create, and connect. And building on that just a little bit more, we do encourage participants to align their solutions with the UN Sustainability Goals. You'll see when we look at some of the award winners from this year that some of them do lean that direction, but you don't have to. You can do your own, whatever you want to do. We see that these actually get a lot of excitement because we don't see a lot of this kind of stuff every day. So, and again, our common goal is to educate and empower and enable people to be positive members of the XR industry. So this year, our grand prize was called In Arm's Reach, And it was a really wonderful use of mixed reality. It actually kind of dynamically switched between mixed reality and augmented reality using the new Quest 3. A year ago it was new. And it really is about climate justice, and everyone just across the board was just thrilled with it. It was being a beautiful experience and a meaningful experience really made it stick out from all of the others. But then, we also had a block party. It was a really simple, it seems simple to the user, but in fact, what you were doing was you were engaging with an object in virtual reality, and it was implementing a change in a physical object. So basically a cube, if you touch the different cubes light up in real life. So it just, again, like kind of thinking about hardware and neat things that you can do with that. Noir was a piece that, it's an augmented reality app that would add an immersive layer to mural art in around cities. And those guys have continued their work and actually started their own hackathon in Oakland, California. So their work is just fantastic. Bounce Ball, again, a very simple user experience, pushing the boundaries of mixed reality in terms of engaging in multi-user mixed reality experiences and literally just bouncing a ball. But pulling all that together, I think most of you that are in the business know that is very hard to do. And then Recover was an interesting one, providing a virtual experience just for people who had lost a limb. So in virtual reality, they could experience that again. So, just to show like kind of breadth of the type of work that comes out of the MIT Reality Hack, it's very different, and we love that. It's a unique event. So what is it like? So it is 5 incredible days of technology. Day 1 is really meant to inspire everyone. We have a bunch of workshops. We'll have hardware workshops. We'll have software workshops. We'll have inspiration expos talking about the UN sustainability goals and how we can use technology and things like that. We will have a hackathon kickoff event where we have a keynote speaker, and we'll talk about how things are going to unfold for the rest of the hackathon. We do team formation. For anyone who's been in the past few years, that has always been a little challenging. We're hoping to improve it this year, but it's important to us that, as messy as it is, we want you to meet a new team. We don't want people bringing a team. And we feel like that's going to give like a different flavor to it, where you might have 5 people that have worked together and they already have a project in mind, and that kind of gives them a head start and doesn't open them up to possibilities. So that team formation is meant to happen in part through the day as you're going to different workshops and attending different inspirational things and just bumping into people. So it is meant to, there's a lot there. It's very, very important who your team is for a hackathon. The first year, my kid just kind of fell into a group that had a haptic solution for blind people. So you could feel objects approaching. Amazing. And then the next year, she said, well, I just want to be on a team of all developers, because she is a developer. And you know what? They didn't get a whole lot done. And it really had no creative spark to it. So now she says, next year, she's going to be the developer. She wants all creatives on her team. And so there's room for everybody. There's room for designers and animators and producers. I went 2 years ago. I was, like I said, I was burnt out on the work I had been doing. I was excited about working in XR. I went to the MIT Reality Hack as an older hacker, and I did provide value. I was able to contribute a lot of ideas to my team, and while they were setting up the Unity dev, I was like making ShapesXR prototypes. And then when they were running into problems, then I was like changing the prototypes. Like, well, maybe the product set needs to be different. Anyhow, it's really important, the team formation, and that we make space for everybody, and we want to hear lots of different voices. So after that, you have 2 days of hacking, working with your team. You're going to start out by brainstorming. You're going to start out prototyping, setting things up, hack some more. All throughout that, we have mentors. We have tons of people. It is a really big community. We have tons of people who are walking table to table and saying, do you need any help? And then we have a networking night that first night. The next day, so that'll be Saturday. Same thing, it's just heads down, everybody's working as hard as they can. And then when we get to Sunday, we have the final. Sunday morning is like, this is it. You're like debugging, you're polishing things up, you're uploading everything into DevPost for the judges, and then pencils down. And the judges walk around table to table and they look at the demos and, we might say like, okay, we've got, 20 judges and we got 20 tables, we might break them up. Nonetheless, you have got to impress them. You have to impress them really fast or they will walk to the next table. And if you do get them engaged, like your demo better work, right? So this is it. And then they're gonna go and they do take their time. It takes a while. They'll have a lot of different points of view because of, again, such an interesting collection that we bring. Nonetheless, the judging gets done on Sunday night. There is also a startup hack that also, there are pitches that happen on Sunday night. And then on Monday, if you want to, you can stick around and you can demo the product that you made. It's open to the public, so we do get a lot of interesting people from the Cambridge area, whether it's other students or folks from other colleges in the area. And then we'll have a closing ceremony with awards and a closing party. So that's what that looks like. And I will say, for folks that have been there in previous years, we are adding a lot more to it, most notably, of course, AI. Love it or not. Lots of wearables came out this year, so we'll have a lot of those as part of, there'll be demos, or you might raise your hand and say, hey, I want to work with that particular haptic product. And if you can get them excited about your idea, then you might be the one working with the haptic gloves. So we're kind of expanding, like I said, to beyond just XR. But also this year we are adding the a tech conference. This one won't be free. It is very limited. It is intended for kind of industry leaders. Right now we have a keynote speaker from the UN. We have a number of people speaking about AI. We have some friends from Meta that are going to be speaking. And so more information will be coming out about that as we go forward. So I mentioned that there's a startup hack. So there's kind of the general hack. There are different tracks within that you can apply to or you can sign up for. The startup hack is really hard work. If you are really serious, you can get into the startup hack. The hardware hack is also really amazing. It's like there's one of it that's like, can you make something out of garbage that you find? Or can you make something that has like a creative input and a creative output? They have different kind of objectives in the hardware hack that are really interesting. So who came to the reality hack? So, I'm gonna state it up here though, it's really open to everybody. We're very intentionally inclusive. So this last year we had 683 attendees, 500 hackers, 55 mentors, sponsors, judges, the organizational team, the volunteers. It's a massive effort, which is why I'm going to ask you guys for help. So who came? So we had 55 nationalities attend, 62 hackers that traveled from outside the US. It does, really fit in the 20 to 30 years range, but there's enough people that are older and younger than that, and again, everybody feels welcome, nobody feels left out. I'm really pleased with our gender distribution. We're pretty evenly split between men and women, with a good representation of non-binary or unspecified. So that's nice. It feels very inclusive. That was by design. So who is the event for? Restating this again, it's open to everybody. Creativity and exploration are really what we're going for. We need a diverse and inclusive space for that. So whether you're a designer, developer, or product manager, please join us. And then, what if you don't have any experience? What if you're new? I was the new guy. But we still, again, we need that. Maybe you're like a medical background, and bring that. Some team might be like, oh my God, we needed a medical expert. Thank God you're here. So again, it's really meant to be for everyone. But here's the thing, it is a massive undertaking for a volunteer, nonprofit event. Right now we have applications open for hackers. The hacking application is open until December 13th. Again, that's going to get close because the event is in January. We also will be opening up applications for mentors and judges pretty soon in the next week or two. We also need volunteers, so if anybody wants to volunteer, you can go to our website and you can sign up there. And I also need sponsors. Oh, by the way, I'm on the sponsorship committee, so please let me know if you want to sponsor. And that could be anything from like a tier 1, like a little booth, and we love you because the startups come and they talk to people and they meet people, and it's awesome for the startups. And then we have people like our friends at Meta and other companies that also provide a tremendous amount of support that we're really grateful for. So if anyone knows anyone who wants to sponsor, please let me know. And what else can I tell you? We are on all the channels. You can find us anywhere. And that's all I have to say about the MIT Reality Hack right now. I am also on the XR Guild. So, like I said, I'm new to this world, so I'm doing everything I can to meet everybody I can. So the XR Guild is, it's a guild for ethical professionals. Really, what our goal here is advancing the conversation around ethics within our industry, right? So we're not trying to be the police, but we want to encourage those conversations. We have a huge content library. We offer a mentorship program. If anyone wants us to come into your business, I mean, maybe you are working at a company and you're struggling. You can have a call with a mentor and talk about it. And again, we're not the police. We're not going to call anybody. So these are our principles. These were written 3 years ago. They're a little outdated. We're going through a process right now to revise them and update them. Again, kind of moving away from metaverse language and talking more about spatial computing. And we are going to also have to speak about AI as well within our guidelines going forward. And we're thinking that next year, once we have updated the principles, we may have like kind of a content calendar where once a month we talk about principle number 1. Every person matters, and we're going to have a call, and we'll have a web event where we talk about that and talk about what can we do to make that real in spatial computing. What does that mean to you, and how can you help support that? So there's a QR code. You can go and you become a member. Really easy to become a member. All you have to do is say, I agree with these principles. And again, I'm not a policeman. I'm not going to make sure that you do it. But in your heart, you believe that we need to build a future that, there's so many dystopian nightmares that we can imagine. I know we all trip on them every day. But that you are a representative of this business and that you will do your best. And then if you do sign up, I encourage you to volunteer or donate to the Guild if you don't have the time to volunteer. And I think that is all I have to say.
And I will bring up my inner Craig Herndon, who's one of the volunteers. He always says that the hack is not an overnight thing, right? That they kind of close the door, so if you are a hacker, you don't have to stay up all night.
That's true. Yes. Yes.
So, okay. Any other questions? You can hit this QR code. And with that, we are going to bring up our team from Gravity Sketch, Caley, Maddie, and Andrew. Thank you so much for coming here.
Thanks so much for having us tonight. We're really excited to be here. Just a show of hands, who's familiar with Gravity Sketch? Amazing. Okay. And who has, of those hands, who's tried Gravity Sketch? Amazing. Okay. Awesome. Well, very excited to chat with you tonight, especially for those that have used Gravity Sketch or have not. We'll chat a little bit about what Gravity Sketch is and what clients that we work with. But without further ado, we'll introduce ourselves first. So I'm Caley Taylor. I'm a customer success manager on the Gravity Sketch team. I'm here with my New York-based colleagues as well. But we are a London-based company. So our team is based here to help our clients in the US. I work primarily with automotive and footwear clients, and we'll get into that a little bit today. But my background's actually in fashion design. So I started in very traditional fashion design roles, which brought me into 3D. So worked at a company called Flow 3D before joining Gravity Sketch. So excited to tell you about that experience today.
Hi everyone, I'm Maddie I'm a customer operations manager at Gravity Sketch. I lead a team that creates also in apparel design. And I spent the last 8 years in wearable technology and specifically in haptics before moving to VR. And with that, I'll pass it to Andrew.
Maddie, and I am a junior footwear design consultant at Gravity Sketch. So I typically work with enterprise clients, teaching them how to use Gravity Sketch, how to apply it to their workflows. My background actually started in policy and legislation. I quickly pivoted to footwear design. So that's where I find myself now. But yeah, I'll hand it back to Caley.
So for those of you that are not familiar, we'll tell you a little bit about how Gravity Sketch started. So our co-founders founded Gravity Sketch as a master's thesis, and they were very inspired by Picasso. They wanted to be able to say, or to take the ideas that we visualize in 3D or think in 3D and be able to create them in 3D. So what we see in a traditional product creation process is that you're sketching on a 2D image and then bringing that actually to a 3D product. So how can we help with that process? So Gravity Sketch's ethos is we bring better, we help people bring better products to life. And so we can talk about the different industries that we work with. This is an example of a product that was created in Gravity Sketch, but this is obviously the real model here. So primarily in automotive, but it can be used for any physical product, or even just to visualize your ideas in 3D. So these are some of the companies that we work with, but also I'd really like to highlight the universities that we work with too. So we'll be talking about some of the academic sponsorships that we participate with our clients, and also some of the clients listed on the page. If you have any questions as well, we're happy to answer later. To take you through a little bit of a process that you can use Gravity Sketch with. So this is a traditional automotive workflow. We're going to take you through the 2D workflow and then 3D workflow. So a lot of these products probably look familiar with those in the industry. So first, you're hand sketching or maybe using Photoshop, and this is something that we've seen in the industry for years. And then maybe you're bringing that into a PowerPoint and a Teams presentation to actually review that with your immediate team or other members in your company. Then in automotive, we see them going into Alias or CATIA, which is more of a hard modeling software, so in preparation for production. And then finally, you're seeing it, and maybe a VRED image and then a clay model as well. So you're having that physical product that you're huddling around with your team. You're able to make corrections, but there's a lot of back and forth in that process. And then finally moving to CATIA, again, to create that physical model. But with the 3D workflow, what we like to help our clients with is we're seeing a lot of AI. I know we've mentioned that too, and that's hard to deny, but AI, there's Viscom, and then there's also Blender that we see in combination with Gravity Sketch. And so really what you're able to do with Gravity Sketch is start from concept creation into a collaborative environment for design reviews, but then you also can bring in other team members. So for automotive specifically, you can bring in your digital modeling team or even your engineers to collaborate around one VR environment. So you're going to see a little bit here, but this is the software live in action, and if you'd like to demo, you can come and visit our booth later. But these are some of the adjustments that you can make. This is actually Screen Collab, so you can be in VR to actually create, but then if you want to view it on your desktop, you can here as well. But there's different options. You can start in 3D, you can see human proportions, you can bring in a chassis, you can bring in mannequins to see this all come to life. Okay. And then just an example of how we work with industry. So this is an example of a sponsorship that we did with Ford in December, and I'll just play a short video to share the final presentation.
A new tool that I can implement into my workflow, being able to network with Ford and also Gravity Sketch, it's just been an amazing experience.
What I love about the Ford Gravity Sketch studio and what I like about industry being spearheaded by someone who's, I guess, forward-thinking as Mike, it really gave us license to treat it and think about it in a way that I think it would be in the industry too.
I had no experience in Gravity Sketch at all coming into this. When I picked up my headset for the first time on week 1, that was the first time that I had opened the app. So it's pretty awesome to see how far that me and everybody else in the studio has come in terms of using this platform, and I can absolutely see the vision in terms of seeing Gravity Sketch being used a lot more in my workflow.
I'm always like someone who's tool agnostic, I would say, but I do think that Gravity Sketch tends to be the right tool for me.
Thanks to the folks who let us use this really progressive and modern space here at the Ford Experience Center. Really gives my management a taste, right, of kind of where the future's going. And I think the students, it's important that they understand if they come to Ford that these are going to be experiences that they have. It was mission accomplished in the sense that we gave them a taste and they really nailed it.
So this is just an example of one of the sponsorships that we've done, but we've done this as well with footwear and other automotive companies too. But the students really get immersed and they're able to express and also present in VR. So I will pass it to Andrew to share a little bit.
A new tool that I can implement into my workflow.
It always happens, sorry. Let's see if I can just move to the next slide. Perfect. There we go. All right.
Thank you, Caley. Sorry, everybody. There we are. So I'm going to quickly take you through the current state of the footwear industry and then show you how we're solving problems for our different clients. So the footwear industry at the moment is incredibly archaic. It is very, very analog and it's very driven towards hand sketching. So typically how a designer will work initially is they're creating a whole bunch of different views of their idea, their concept. They're drawing different orthographics, so that might be the lateral or outside view, medial, inside, top down, and bottom view. The problem with this is that those sketches are not cohesive, right? One, it's very time intensive to sketch all of those out, but two, the way that the lateral side transitions to the medial side is very hard to convey from just those 2D analog sketches. Where we fit in is we're creating basically an entirely cohesive 3D model off the get-go. So designers can ideate in 3D, and they know that one, they're able to save time because they're not drawing 4 different sketches for every single concept, but also all those different views are going to line up with each other. So that's one aspect that we're helping out. The next is in problem solving. So we found that when you create a 3D model earlier, you're able to problem solve earlier with your different collaborators. So it's not just designers that are in this space, it is your developer, your 3D engineer, your factory partners. All of them are able to align earlier on and figure out things that might have caused problems later down the road. So for example, on a recent project, the developer was able to hop into a collab room with the designer and find out that the tooling wasn't going to be manufacturable. They were able to find that earlier, whereas if they had just had those 2D sketches, it would have been very hard to understand that, or maybe they would have had to wait for the first sample to come. The next part that we're helping out is rapid ideation. You can build off of one single 3D model and continually tweak it as you go. This is very important when you're operating an 18-month calendar and you're trying to keep up with the competition. So I want to quickly show a video of one of our clients, or the Vice President of Innovation at New Balance, speaking to the benefits of Gravity Sketch.
When designers start to understand 3D, they start to speak the same language as the 3D artists do, because they're working in the same way. And throughout my career, I've always been looking at how to incorporate 3D. When we started at New Balance, it was, I want designers to start concept drawing in 3D versus 2D. It was that simple. We weren't really thinking beyond that. For us, we work on an 18-month calendar. If we can make better decisions earlier, we can get to what our final product's going to be quicker and get it to market faster. We are able to reduce the amount of samples that we make throughout the process. There's a huge cost savings for us in our factories when we make less prototypes. These are estimations, but
Sorry, I'll cut off there. Sorry, Jared. All right. So just to what Jared was speaking about in the video, it's all about being able to create a higher fidelity model earlier. And this allows you to not create as many samples later down the road, saving time and money. Two, it's improving that collaboration. When your 3D designers are speaking the same language as the designers who are traditionally in 2D, there's much more opportunity to maintain that design intent all the way through the process. So when you're moving it from, a pretty loose sub-D model in Gravity Sketch to something like Rhino or Blender later down the road, there's less room for interpretation, and you can get to exactly what the designer intended. All right, and then finally, I want to quickly show Gravity Sketch in action with, actually this is a designer based out of Brooklyn currently. He's an industrial designer named Nick Baker, and he's one of our power users. This is kind of how it's being used within a AR space. But yeah, it's pretty neat. This product actually is the Super Chair, and it was put into production based off of the 3D model as well. So this is him modeling in space, and you can quickly iterate. And the other thing that's quite cool is you can basically place that model in your AR environment to understand exactly how it's going to look and feel if you're working with a client, and design it to human proportion. But yeah. All right, I will now pass it over to Maddie.
Cool. Thanks, Andrew.
Cool.
Alright, let me just make this. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about how all of you can get involved with Gravity Sketch. So what we've launched this year, mainly thanks to the design by Andrew over here, is our new onboarding journey. So getting into VR for the first time, for those of us who have gotten into VR, can be quite daunting, quite intimidating. As you've heard, a lot of designers that we work with, they don't work in 3D, or this may be their first time. So adding VR and this introduction to 3D can be really intimidating. So we wanted to create a journey for our users to lead them through the basics. How do you use a controller? How do you draw a line up to how you can create forms, some of the sketches that you've seen from footwear and automotive, how you can move around the space and manipulate a sketch. So through our onboarding journey, it'll take you through 5 rooms where you can complete a series of sketches with a trainer and use interactive assets to complete that journey. Another exciting program that we have launched this year, or relaunched I'll say, is our certification program. So we have a large variety of users all over the globe. And we have anyone from the students that you saw who are just starting out to power users like Nick Baker. So we've launched a certification program to guide our users through different stages of their journey. And so there are 4 stages of certification, starting from designer to professional, expert, and then certified trainer. So what this program enables users to do is to get validated in their proficiency at Gravity Sketch, but also learn more about Gravity Sketch, be able to upskill themselves, and even become a certified trainer, so even be able to teach Gravity Sketch to other users. We've also launched community programs that will connect certified trainers to each other and give them a bit of mentorship. And last but not least, we have our Global 3D Design Festival, which is called Around. So this is a great opportunity that we host now multiple times a year, starting in 2025, where you are able to interact and meet with power users like Nick Baker. You can meet other users, other people in the industry, not only using Gravity Sketch, but other 3D tools. So it's a really great free opportunity for anyone to be more involved in the 3D community, to learn how people are using and experimenting with not only 3D, but how they do workflows into AR, AI, etc. So it's a great opportunity. Our next Around Festival, I believe, is in February, so you're able to sign up for more information on our website and enter there. Oh, and just a little bit more information, forgot about this slide. Just a little bit more information of our previous Around. So we had 87 speakers, 35 talks. We had 9 workshops that were actually hosted by some of our power users where people could actually get into VR and learn a workflow and workshop with users. 6 music sessions from community and from internal GS members who are also part-time DJs. So it's really a great opportunity to not only meet people, but also learn new things and upskill yourself in VR.
All of you inspired me. I always get mine. This is having a real impact. Faster, more efficient.
Now it's time to take it to that next level.
Imagine things that never existed.
I think that's the end of our presentation. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much. Let me put the question thing up there. So if you have questions, put that up. And with that, we're going to go to our last speaker, which is Mr. Brandon. Come on down. Perfect.
Thank you, DJ. So just, perfect. Thanks so much, DJ. Everybody, my name is Brandon Turnage. I am brought here today representing Vario. We're a Finnish-based mixed reality hardware company. As you can see, I've been with the company for 5 years. Prior to that, I was actually with a company called Striver, based out of Menlo Park. Some of you might be familiar with Striver. We did one of the largest VR training rollouts at the time when I was with the company. 17,000 Oculus headsets, I believe, at the time, across 5,300 Walmart locations, training on everything from web wall stalking to disaster response and active shooter training. And as you can imagine, when we had that large of a rollout in the enterprise space, we were approached by several companies that were all really interested in, how do we get VR into our offices? How do we be able to deploy VR at scale in training and some other different facets? And one of the ideas that kept coming up, we came up with an analogy called RIDE. It's risky, impossible, dangerous, expensive, all great ways to utilize VR in the enterprise. And one of the kind of concepts that kept coming up was the idea of replacing physical prototypes with digital assets. We can move faster, we can be smarter, and how do we go about doing that? At the time, this was obviously 7, 8 years ago, I hadn't seen any type of device that would allow you to visualize something high enough resolution to replace a lot of these, to make multi-million-dollar decisions, to train on aircraft where you're actually needing to read dials and see gauges. And I was approached by a gentleman from London. He said there's a Finnish company that's looking for a head of sales. They're developing a device, and this has been 5 years ago now, just a little over 5 years ago. Would you like to come out and see it? It's human eye resolution. I said, of course, because that would address everything that I've been turning down here at Striver. So I actually flew out to DC, got to see what would become the prototype for the VR1 headset, and I was blown away. And I was like, wow, we can address a lot of those use cases. So I joined Vario at the time to lead enterprise sales, later went on to lead enterprise and federal sales, and I've stayed with the company still to this day. A little bit of background on Vario. So Vario, as I mentioned, was a Finnish company. It's been around since 2016. Prior to the actual founding of the company, the technology, bless you, the technology was actually starting to be worked on within Nokia. So it was clear back in 2011, the technology was being looked at as how do we create a super high resolution video pass-through type device. So the team that was working on that was actually scooped up when Nokia got bought by Microsoft. They were asked, hey, you guys need to come work on the HoloLens. They're like, well, we want to continue this video pass-through concept. So they spun out and they created Vario back in 2016. Since then, we've had over $100 million in funding. We've got 220 employees globally. And our major focus areas, as you can imagine when I was talking earlier, is really around super high resolution types of use cases. So when you think about training and simulation, how do we train pilots on aircraft and mixed reality simulators where they can be able to read physical components and be able to interact with virtual, see at distance, and have super realistic flight simulation experiences. Design and engineering. So talking with the Gravity Sketch folks, I love these guys. I see their software use a lot. We're in 20 out of the 20 largest OEMs. They're using it to make super important design decisions. You can replace a lot of your clay modeling. You don't need to do a lot of that, which is super expensive, takes a lot of time. We don't need to wait on physical prototypes to be sent over. We don't have to 3D print. We don't need fabric samples sent over for us to be able to evaluate. We can do all that with Gravity Sketch, with Autodesk VRED, with Dassault suite of products, we can actually be able to use a lot of that to do visualization and be able to make decisions faster. And if you look at a company like General Motors making electric vehicles, where it takes 4 to 5 years to go through the same process that Rivian can do in 14 months, you can see the competitive advantage that everybody's striving for when they're trying to go into these all-digital workflows. We can move faster, it's cheaper, we can iterate, and you can imagine the competitive advantage you have being able to develop a vehicle in 14 months compared to 5 years. So that's a major focus area for us, and also research and medical. So I'll get into some of the specs of the headset, but one thing that people really like when you get into a high-resolution device like ours, we have an integrated eye tracker that runs at 200 hertz. It spits out raw data feeds, so you can see things like cognitive load, what makes people excited within a scene. So we've got some of the automotive customers that are using it. They'll put their customers inside of new interior designs. They don't even need to ask them questions. They can literally just see when they light up and when they actually are excited about a lot of the new pieces they put inside the vehicles. But for the training scenario, you can imagine airport air traffic control scenarios where you put people in. At what point do they get tired? How often should we have people take breaks before they're starting to make mistakes because they're starting to get fatigued? So a lot of really interesting things are done with the headsets on the research and medical field as well. Getting into where we are today, so we've come a long way since I first started. Since that VR one that I saw back in DC, we're actually on our 4th iteration of product. So you see 3 different variants of headset up here. It's called the XR4. We've actually got the focal edition in the back of the room. I really invite everybody, I'm going to talk fast so we can get through this and you can actually try it out. I brought the focal edition, which is the highest end. You see we also have a secure edition headset. It's actually the same 2 variants. We just manufacture it in Finland, so it can be TA compliant. We can load the software outside of China, so we can have that in super high secure settings. We can make it non-RF, so we remove the radio frequencies. You can put it in Skunkworks and Lockheed Martin, places like that. But it's still the same 2 variants. So really when we get down to the XR4 and the XR4 Focal Edition, what you have is 20 megapixel pass-through cameras on both devices. You have 51 pixel per degree resolution quality on an aspheric lens. So the benefits there, if you look at most headsets and you look at our first generation, most headsets are made with a Fresnel lens. It's cheap, it's high quality, you can manufacture it easily. What we're trying to do though is provide that super high-end experience, especially for these enterprise type use cases. We're not playing in the consumer space, so it's definitely much more expensive, and I'll give you the pricing if you come over and visit. I'm not gonna put it on the slide. But as you can imagine, the aspheric lens does have its advantages. It's got much higher contrast. We have better color capture. It's going to be a brighter experience, but you know, it's more difficult to manufacture. It's heavier. When you put the headset on, you'll feel that automatically. But if you're making multi-million-dollar design decisions, if you're trying to mimic flying an aircraft, we literally have FAA certification on some of these flight simulators where people are clocking hours to get their actual pilot's license in a simulator. Like, that's pretty crazy to think about. Like, you're flying on a commercial aircraft and they've never flown a real aircraft. Like, that's the level of realism that you need in a type of device like this. So that's going to be able to provide with these actual lenses. The second piece is a few things that are really unique about the headset. So I talked about the fact that it has a 20 megapixel pass-through camera, right? The difference and the big update with the Focal Edition specifically that I brought back in the back here that you can experience, what that is the first ever brought to market autofocus pass-through camera. So in all of our headsets, since the beginning of time, we've always had an eye camera inside that will actually measure your IPD distance and mechanically adjust the lenses. It keeps you from feeling sick, makes sure everybody sees the same thing as you go through the experience, whether it's a design scenario or a training scenario. What we've done with the autofocus camera is we've actually taken that gaze detection. We can tell the depth that you're looking through the camera, and we autofocus to that distance. So if you're looking down at a knee board and it's 45 centimeters away, it's in focus, I can read everything on it. When I look at the cockpit controls, they're 90 centimeters away. Now that's in focus. When I look outside the aircraft, I can see the instructor and see if he's holding something up, and I can read that as well. Super important that you're able to do that. That's something that's very unique that you're not going to be able to see on the market today. It's inherently expensive, but you can imagine that scenario that I just gave you, super important when you're trying to, again, get FAA certification on a flight training device. The second piece, so when you think about really good mixed reality, a lot of that comes down to lighting, shaders, shadows. One big piece that we added to this headset that's new to the XR4 series is an ambient light sensor. So what we're doing is we're actually taking the lux values of the space, so the actual lighting levels, and we're applying that to the mixed reality object. So what you're able to do is you can match that lighting level and really start to inherently trick the user into thinking like, what is real in the scenario and what is actually not. Because when we get to the higher end pass-through cameras, we can provide a 51 pixel per degree feed through the pass-through that matches the 51 pixel per degree virtual quality. So now when we think about matching that lux level, you can't tell what's real and what's virtual. And that's what really makes me excited about this latest XR4 series, is what people can build with it. We're plug and play into most software that's out there. So if it's OpenXR compatible, we're going to be able to play really well with that. Most things are moving towards that. So Gravity Sketch, Autodesk products, Dassault suite of products, P3D, Microsoft Flight Sim, you name it, it's probably going to plug and play well into that. And that's really, what we strive to do today. So, like I said, I brought the Focal Edition in. I would love everybody to be able to have a chance to see that. It's a really great experience. Thanks so much, DJ, for letting us come in. I tried to cut this as close to time as possible because I know we're pretty...
Perfect.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Awesome. All the presenters come on back up. We're going to go through a couple of quick questions, and then we can get back to some demo time. But thank you. The presentations were awesome tonight. Come on up, and if anybody has questions, you can cue that in. Maybe go over on this side. That's where the camera is. All right, we got a couple in here already. And let me just bring them up here. Okay. So, in order, the first couple of questions are for Mr. Gary. How have you seen the motion sickness factor with the Aqua mark experience? So has motion sickness been an issue in your testing?
No, not really. It's working just perfect in the water. I'm trying myself and with my kids in the pool. It's working just perfect. No sickness at all.
Great. And are you attending the IAAPA event next week?
Next week I'm going to Yapa. Yes, it's around Florida.
Yep.
Yes, we will be participating in the event.
Okay. And is the Atlantic Explorer available in MetaQuest?
No, it's not will be available in the store, and it will be it's made specifically for the AquaVR mask, and will be used only exclusively in hotels, water parks, and cruise ships.
Okay. Question, actually this is more of a comment for Marianne on the hack. I think this is constructive note that
It was a question. It's a genuine question.
It says, well, I'll just read it.
Oh, sorry.
The MIT hack is a great event, but at times a bit chaotic, especially with lunch and dinner lines. So essentially they're saying,
yes.
Can we...
Agreed.
Which is why we need volunteers and sponsors.
Touche. That was a perfect answer. Okay, another question for Gary. Gaming is a great use case. Do you think there are good use cases for training, like underwater rescue or firefighting?
Yes, it will work with the for firefighters. Actually, we got the mask, the gold smell, so we can use this already in firefighters applications. And for AquaVR, we can use this for training purposes too.
Okay. For Gravity Sketch folks, are there animation features built into the Gravity Sketch platform?
At the moment, no.
Elaborate on that.
Also for Gravity Sketch, were there any 3D manufacturing formats that was challenging to implement and export to the customer workflow.
So I'll elaborate. I think for the, there are several different outputs that you can both import and or export from Gravity Sketch. So you can bring in 3D data to then model around or sketch around, and then you can export that out from Gravity Sketch as well. Various file types, OBJ, FBX, from our Screen Collab version, you can also export USDZ and MP4. I'm trying to remember all of the file types, but we can look through the list as well together. But there's a lot of industry standards that you can import and export. I hope that answers the question.
Also, quick clarification, we do have a turntable animation, so that's out there.
All right, and question for Brandon. How would I be able to build applications for the XR4? Also interested to hear some testimonials on flight and simulation training. Actually, stay on it.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So, great question. So a lot of it is plug and play as far as whatever software type you're using. So if you're doing any kind of design, CAD modeling, anything like that, that's going to be where you typically will live if it's got any type of visualization on any type of device. So we try and be OpenXR, OpenVR compatible. So we've got as many of those as we can. If not, you can export it into a gaming engine. So Unity, Unreal Engine, they're going to be great ways to be able to get and create different types of games. What I'm going to be showing back here is actually Unreal Engine based, so you can get a chance to be able to see that. That's the way a lot of people will go typically for that. For the testimonials, we've got there's one live in the demo that I have. So if you stick around, I encourage that. You'll be able to sit here and listen to it inside of the scenario, but you can also go to our website, vimeo.com/Vario has some amazing videos where you can see a lot of testimonials, especially from IDSEC, which is a major military trade show that's based down in Orlando as well. So I would definitely check that out.
Awesome. That is the end of the questions. So I'm going to end the formal part of this event. Thank you to all of the presenters. Really wonderful event. Amazing stuff. Great opportunity to check these out. So thank you so much, everyone, and we'll see you next month. And stick around and check things out. We'll be here for another hour. So
Let's running like weird schedule, so let's talk.
You gotta check it out.
Sure, yeah. So we're not just we want to Cool. Yeah, I love the even that program out of is it like just a Zoom? Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I love do you mind sending me an email? Oh, yeah. Cool. Yeah, so just send me an email and like what your skill set is, and if there's like if you're looking for I'll just put the free yards out. Cool. Thank you. Hey. Yeah, good to see you. Yeah, sure. Imagine I saw you specialized for yeah. At minimum, we have open for demoing, so you can come and demo like work on it at the end. I prefer to see but yes, if you want to like get some slides that you go through, that always helps. So that I kind of understand what that is. Yeah, what kind of what the presentation look like. And as long as it's in line with I think we've just helped promote the event in the past. So I usually do, the announcements or whatever. It's just helped with letting me hear those. Yeah, just like yes, I mean, information, as well as yeah,